In the early hours of August 10, 2025, under the cover of Arizona's desert darkness, 26 gunmen from the Los Chapitos faction of the Sinaloa Cartel silently slithered through a secret tunnel carrying enough fentanyl to kill millions and military-grade weapons, aiming to seize a foothold on American soil. They thought the border was just a faint line on a map that America was asleep. They were wrong. In just 180 seconds, Delta Force and Army Rangers turned their dreams to dust in a relentless, no-warning, no-survivors battle. Don't look away, because this untold story will reveal how America responds to those who dare cross the line with blood, steel, and speed. Subscribe now to uncover the secrets behind the battle that redefined the border. The desert wind, sharp as a blade, sliced through the Arizona-Sonora border in deadly silence. No sirens, no signs of intrusion, only a faint tremor beneath the earth. A microseismic pulse too brief for radar to catch, but enough to trigger the buried sensors of the Border Defense Command. Beneath the sand and rock, a new tunnel had been completed. After more than 3 weeks of construction using diamond drilling technology, 9 meters deep, 1.3 kilometers long, with an exit point 2.4 kilometers north of the border marker, right under a low-level border checkpoint. And then they emerged. "26 gunmen from the Los Chapitos faction, the most brutal arm of the Sinaloa Cartel, silently crawled out of the tunnel's mouth like heavily armed insects. Each wore infrared goggles, suppressed M4A1 rifles, lightweight body armor, and encrypted navigation gear developed by Gente Nueva, with stealth software refined from leaked U.S. military training maps. They didn't need to fire a shot. 4 sleeping border agents were bound with zip ties, gagged and hung on the wall like a message. "We can kill, but today it's not necessary." Within 4 minutes, the intruders had seized the entire border post. A small compound with a mobile radar rest containers and a satellite signal antenna. The group's leader, a man nicknamed Mono 11, rumored to be El Chapo Guzman's son-in-law, swiftly planted timed explosives on the electronic control system and ordered a retreat. Behind them were 3 trucks camouflaged with the logo of a Mexican logistics company carrying 142 kilograms of powdered fentanyl, 24 light machine guns, a batch of homemade drones, and military-grade radio communication modules. But this wasn't a routine smuggling run. The real goal was to seize a foothold on American soil. To establish a strategic outpost in the Arizona desert, where the cartel hoped to run a white supply chain across the states without skulking in the shadows. They thought the U.S. government was distracted by conflicts in Asia and the Middle East. They thought the border was just a faint line on a map, no longer a deadly barrier. They miscalculated. From an altitude of 6,000 meters, a U.S. Army Gray Eagle UAV, set to silent glide mode, detected an unusual heat signature. Each of the cartel's trucks radiated heat equivalent to a Humvee, but moved intermittently like civilian vehicles. Deeper AI analysis reveals radio frequency noise around the targets, a signature only present with drone jamming or GPS interference signals. The report reaches Fort Bliss in 26 seconds. Lieutenant Colonel Jason Hayes, commander of Delta Force, is awakened in the dead of night. A question is posed. Is this smuggling or non-state warfare? He responds with 3 words: "This is invasion," as the cartel fumbles to move trucks toward Tucson's outskirts via dirt roads. The Pentagon convenes an emergency meeting with Cyber Command SOCOM and the Department of Justice. Signal experts intercept an encrypted conversation from the incursion team. If all goes well, we'll have a second bridgehead by dawn on the 11th. This confirms Northern Command's worst suspicion. This is the start of a larger plan to establish an armed cartel presence on American soil. If unchecked, it will unleash Hell's Gates. The counterstrike is authorized at 5:18 in the morning. No press, no politics, no negotiations, just military. And when Delta Force moves, the intruders aren't just hunted, they're erased from the map. Absolute silence grips the underground command room at Fort Bliss as a satellite map lights up the main screen. Tracking the route of 3 border-crossing containers. No beacons, no GPS, no license plates in the traffic system. Yet every meter is monitored. The convoy moves slowly along a dirt road south of Tucson, heading toward a place called Cedar Wound, a small town once a copper mining hub, now just abandoned warehouses, a few empty substations, and fewer than 1,000 residents, a dead zone with no traffic cameras, no fixed checkpoints. The perfect spot for an armed group to establish a strategic bridgehead. Lieutenant Colonel Jason Hayes stands close to the screen, silent eyes locked on the UAV's thermal signature. Beside him, Captain Marquez, the technical commander of the Army Rangers, stationed at Yuma, inputs commands into the Delta RC combat system. The plan takes shape with astonishing speed, as if prepared months in advance. The trap will close at an abandoned warehouse 2.1 kilometers west of the town center. The site has a rusted tin roof 12 millimeters thick, 3 entry points, and reinforced concrete walls from World War II, sturdy enough to serve as a kill box, discreet enough to conceal the hell within. The Delta 57 kill box is drawn up in 3 minutes. A Gray Eagle UAV circles at 8,000 meters, tasked with continuous surveillance. 3 snipers from Foxtrot 11, deployed from the Mojave training range, each carry a Shaytak M200 rifle, with an effective range of 2,500 meters. Meanwhile, Cyber Command engineers set up mobile and radio jammers to block any calls for cartel reinforcements. The plan isn't just to stop them, it's to annihilate them. Delta Force never fires warning shots. When the strike order is given, every target in the kill box will be eliminated within 180 seconds. On the other side, the cartel remains unaware they've been marked. Mono 11 sits in the passenger seat of the second container, obsessively checking jamming and communication devices. He doesn't know that every time he opens the door, the UAV's infrared camera captures his position and movements in precise detail. In his mind, the mission is flawless. The trucks have crossed without a shot fired. The route is secure, and the bridgehead will be established on schedule, but he doesn't know the game has changed. At 5:42, the Pentagon's AI system predicts the cartel will halt for arrest within the next 20 minutes at Warehouse 57. Based on speed, remaining fuel, and engine temperature calculations, indicate the cartel must pause before dawn to avoid detection by patrol aircraft. Hayes receives the report and utters one word: locked. Within 6 minutes, Warehouse 57 is sealed off by stealth units. Seismic sensors are buried around a 300-meter perimeter. Every movement, even a single footstep, is recorded. 6:01 in the morning, the 3 containers halt at the warehouse. The driver steps out, opens the iron gate, and checks security. Mono 11 waves, signaling to move the cargo inside. At Fort Bliss, the red light in the command room shifts to yellow, ready for engagement. The snipers receive orders to lock targets in priority sequence 1, Commander. 2 sentries, 3 radio operators. A secure channel transmits all units report position. 6 minutes remaining. Targets will be in the kill box at 6:18. No early shots, no survivors. This is a battlefield, not a courtroom. Then silence, no sound, no warning. Only the heartbeats of American soldiers waiting for the perfect moment. As the first rays of sunlight break over the Arizona horizon, the intruders are unaware that a superpower's wrath awaits atop the warehouse with just 120 seconds left. "6:08 in the morning. The 3 Sinaloa Cartel containers are fully inside the abandoned Warehouse 57. The iron gate closes behind them like a coffin lid. They don't know it. Mono 11 steps out first, checking the internal comms map and ordering the first container open. Inside are 6 lead-lined packages containing 142 kilograms of pure fentanyl. Each kilogram could kill nearly 500,000 people if released into a water supply. The commander removes his mask, breathing a sigh of relief. He thinks he's reached the promised land, but 6,200 meters above an MQ-1C Gray Eagle UAV locks onto his every move, feeding thermal and positional data accurate to the millimeter to Delta Force and the sniper team. And then, as Mono 11 raises his hand to signal unloading, the gates of hell swing open. At 6:09 and 13 seconds, the first shot rings out. A sharp crack tears through the still air, and Mono 11 drops dead, a hole in his forehead, blood splattering across the white cargo. 1.4 seconds later, 2 sentries collapse, their chests torn open as if drilled through. Before the rest can grasp what's happening, the western warehouse wall explodes. A specialized Mawasha 441 wall-penetrating round, fired from 400 meters, punches through the concrete and detonates inside. The second container is flipped off its rack, crushing 3 cartel members scrambling toward the emergency exit. Simultaneously, the warehouse gate is breached from 2 directions. One Delta Force team storms through the main entrance with hinge-busting explosives, while another uses switchblade suicide drones to slice through wall gaps, obliterating the cartel's makeshift wooden and tin command post. Delta operators move like machines, donned in night vision goggles, wielding suppressed M4A1 rifles with 5.56mm armor-piercing rounds, fingers squeezing triggers without hesitation. No warnings, no negotiations, only speed, precision, and destruction. On the warehouse mezzanine, a cartel member tries to activate an anti-UAV jammer. Before he can press the button, 2 rounds hit his chest from 50 meters. On the floor below, 2 others hiding behind the fentanyl container attempt to return fire with submachine guns, managing only 4 shots before an M84 flashbang blinds and deafens them, followed by sniper rounds to their thighs and stomachs. Within 96 seconds, the entire cartel unit is neutralized. 19 dead, 4 wounded and collapsed, and 1 attempting to flee through the back door. As he crosses the threshold, he triggers a thermal trap. A Claymore mine with a thermal camera detonates, shredding his body in a cloud of black smoke. At 6:11 and 9 seconds, the assault team ceases fire. A ranger unit moves in for support, carrying chemical detection gear. Chapitos and the second son-in-law of Ovidio Guzman Lopez, linked to fentanyl smuggling into Northern California since 2023. But his real value isn't his identity. It's the 1 terabyte SSD hidden in his body armor, shielded by a thin lead layer and AES 512-bit encryption. After being stabilized and given emergency first aid, El Mino is loaded onto a waiting UH-60 Black Hawk helicopter outside the warehouse. Accompanying him is an NSA cryptology team issued an urgent Pentagon directive. Level 1, decrypt this data within 6 hours. Use AI behavioral analysis and deep decryption. No standard methods. When the drive is connected at a temporary training base in Fort Bliss, the team watches in silence as data frames appear. Inside isn't just a smuggling map, but the entire Los Chapitos logistics network on American soil. 18 storage points across Arizona, Texas, Oklahoma, even as far as Ohio and Pennsylvania. Each is disguised as delivery companies, organic farms, or auto repair shops. More chilling, 37 American names are listed as payment contacts. Truck drivers, customs agents, postal workers, small but dangerous cogs. The DEA calls these Chapo cells hyper-decentralized criminal startups. No one knows the entire system, and all locations rotate every 90 days. But now, everything is exposed. That morning, as El Mino is taken for special interrogation, rapid response teams from the DEA, U.S. Marshals, and ATF are ordered to raid 5 of the sites. The result, 11 suspects arrested, over $8 million in cash, seized tons of precursor chemicals, and a container of weapons from Venezuela. When asked why they dared cross the border so openly, El Mino only says, "We thought America no longer dared touch us." The interrogator smiles, records the statement verbatim, and closes the file. 1 hour later, El Mino is transferred to a covert black site. No photos, no press, no statements. But Mexican media buzzes that day with a brief report from Sonora Los Chapitos, lost contact early this morning. No one knows if he's alive or dead. What's certain is he stepped onto unforgiving ground, and those who do don't return home. 7:35 in the morning. As the first sunlight floods the Arizona Desert Warehouse 57. Delta is left with only ashes, chemical dust, and dried blood staining the cracked concrete floor. The entire operation lasts exactly 18 minutes from the first shot to the final helicopter's departure. No reporters know, no civilian cameras capture it. But in Washington, an emergency National Security Council meeting is convened. CIA analysts confirm this incursion wasn't isolated. It's part of a campaign called Operación Nido Norte, a plan to expand cartel influence onto American soil. The Arizona event is just the beginning. That afternoon, the Secretary of Defense holds a brief, chilling press conference. Any armed force state or non-state conducting paramilitary operations on American soil will be treated as an act of aggression. And met with corresponding force. No details, no compromise, no apologies, just a message forged in steel. Within 72 hours of the battle, other cartels like CJNG, Gulf Cartel, and Los Zetas go radio silent on their usual channels. Los Chapitos' social media accounts, typically flaunting weapons, drugs, and border power videos, go dark simultaneously, as if choked out in the night. The DEA calls it the 57 Delta effect, an unprecedented deterrent needing no propaganda, no cameras, just a battle no one survives to recount. But the loudest message isn't for the cartels. It's for the world. This isn't just a border. It's the line between life and death. And if you cross it with guns, drugs, or dreams of power, you won't just be deported. You'll be erased from the map. Not by war, but by resolve, by data, by speed, and by one simple truth: America can be patient, but America never forgets. The Sinaloa Cartel's armed incursion into the United States on August 10, 2025, wasn't just a drug smuggling operation. It was a silent but dangerous declaration. Enemies are starting to see America as a gray zone to test. When Los Chapitos dared to dig cross-border tunnels fully armed, carrying enough fentanyl to kill millions, seizing a border post and operating homemade military drones, they weren't just criminals. They were a paramilitary force aiming to establish control on American soil. But they made a fatal mistake underestimating America's response. In mere hours from the moment a Gray Eagle UAV detected an unusual thermal signature to when Delta Force sealed the kill box at Warehouse 57 Delta, the cartel's entire assault network was obliterated. No mercy. Every bullet, every wall breach, every target lock executed with cold precision. Commander Mono 11 was gunned down opening the first container. Switchblade suicide drones, MOSH 441 rounds. Surveillance drones all synchronized like a deadly symphony of technology and discipline. The result, 23 of 26 enemies eliminated, one captured alive, the second son-in-law of Ovidio Guzman, carrying an SSD with the cartel's entire U.S. logistics network. The data leads the DEA to dismantle connections across 18 states. This shows an enemy's misstep can unleash an American storm precise to the second. The lesson for Americans: the border is no longer just geography. It's where national identity and security are defined. For leaders, it's proof that vigilance is never excessive. And every domestic and foreign policy must prioritize sovereignty, not with words, but with strength. The final warning to any group daring to challenge America: you may dig deep, evade, operate in the shadows, but we can see your every heartbeat from thousands of miles away. The lesson from the Warehouse 57 Delta battle is America's unrelenting vigilance and strength in defending its borders. When the Sinaloa Cartel boldly infiltrated with fentanyl and weapons, they underestimated the immediate response of Delta Force and advanced surveillance technology. In just 180 seconds, their entire plan to establish a criminal bridgehead was obliterated, proving the American border is not just a line on a map, but a boundary of sovereignty defended with resolve, speed, and absolute power. And that's how, in just 18 minutes from the first shot to the last helicopter's departure, America sent a steel-hard message: crossing the border with guns and drugs isn't smuggling. It's war, and enemies will be erased from the map. The Warehouse 57 Delta event not only destroyed a Sinaloa Cartel unit, but also exposed their criminal network across 18 states, proving no shadow can hide from the eyes of American justice. What do you think of Delta Force's lightning-fast response? Is this the only way to protect the border? Leave a comment below and share your thoughts on this battle. Don't forget to subscribe and hit the notification bell to stay updated on more gripping stories about those who dare challenge America's unbreakable line.